It came from the case study, but we kind of massaged a few data points to make these errors pop up as teaching points for. So I know you don't have your home bills with you. So I am going to give you a homework assignment. But you saw how fast, in 30 minutes, we did a backcast and 2 chaining models. I mean, think how good you guys are already. So in that exercise folder, I say that, I might have to give it to you. What I want you to do is model KRM's data, which you have in the case study, but we only gave you 3 years of data, so you have a baseline in 2 periods in the reporting period, which you can model. And I updated that to have a full 4 years of data, so you could, do a little more of an equivalent comparison. Yeah, let me see if I've got it on here.
We covered the 10 years. And what if in 10 years the production keep increasing? 10 years, then baseline period, the production range won't cover up to the 10 years. They even change that, in the middle, we
Hold on, you got it.
think
Okay.
in the middle year, we can find a middle year and
Exercise eight?
count both.
No,
Yeah, you just have to
it's
slide.
it's at the bottom.
Whatever we cannot.
You will.
It
You
says
got the data before.
KRM ENPI model data Rev 4.1. So it starts in January 2009, it goes through December 2012, and this one is more appropriate. I would point out that gas is already in MMBTUs. If you choose not to convert it at that step, you remember that process? It'll give you a warning when you go to run the calculate. It'll say, oh, you hadn't converted all the energy sources. If you know it's okay, you can say, okay, I know that, and you go through it. Or you can do a conversion, it's just 1-to-1, and you get an extra column with the same number. Either way. But you have slurry, dry, and total tons. The one thing that I would point out about that, and even the weather variables, in Dan's conversation yesterday about codependency, in a sense, slurry is a codependent variable in total, is it not? It's a contributing factor. But they may explain different parts of the energy profile, and they would not really be, you want to look at, total tons may help explain one part of the scenario, and dry may explain something else. Likewise, average temperature and maybe cooling degree days together may better explain weather, even though they're some codependency. You probably would need to be able to explain why you think they're both needed. But when you run this, now you're going to have, what, 7 variables?
Yep.
So, it'll take a little bit longer, but we'll talk tomorrow briefly. We'll try and carve out some space and talk about how you can change models, because it chose the models for us. What if I don't like what it chose? I want to calculate the SCNPI with a different model. Because I had 2 for the, remember for the forecast, I had 2 for forecast for electricity and 2 for gas. So take that KRM ENPI model data spreadsheet and just, play with it for a few minutes, see what you can get out of it. You got to decide, am I going to forecast, backcast, or chain? You're the CP, KRM wants to know, can I be platinum, gold, or silver? What should my baseline year be? What should my reporting period be? And that's what you got to figure out.
Well, we just have the 4 years of data, so
That's pretty much the same. Thank you.
I do recommend you put your units in your columns.
Yeah, that's good. I already shut it down, but when we label electricity, you know, we put electricity, parentheses, kilowatt hours, yeah. Natural gas, parentheses, therms, that's just a helpful practice. You've done dozens of models and you're into it all, and labeling can be helpful. Sometimes even labeling different production variables, if it's in units or if it's in pounds, or that can help as well. Any questions about that before we break? Yep.
Quick question, like, for example, when we do the forecast, we found that electricity is working pretty well, but natural gas is not. And if we do the backcast, natural gas is working well, but electricity is not. Can we kind of combine?
You can't combine methodologies, backcast, and footnote.
So why not statistically? What's the reason?
I'd have to know more about the process. Maybe they made changes. Maybe they started controlling something better. You know, they got concerned about gas bills, and now they made sure that everything was set appropriately and run correctly. By the time they got to the reporting period, they can track, you know, gas and production or gas and weather. And they couldn't track it in the baseline period. Maybe something else changed in electricity, you know, to do the opposite work. Maybe they got so efficient that it's hard to track how production has an impact on electricity. The other thing you have to watch out for, you know, things like, oh yeah, well, we shipped all that welding department out to Mexico last year. Well, now they're
Nobody uses a lot of those.
yeah, their electricity consumption profile changed. That's not, you can't compare that baseline and that reporting period. They're not the same plants. So you got to adjust for those kind of things. And they won't tell you that until you start trying to model and you start asking questions. You find out all this other stuff that happened. It's like, why didn't y'all tell me about that? All right. You guys are sharp. I'm like the same.
Well, this is tough. This is very difficult.
Sure, someday.
But,
Well, the tool does the heavy lifting. You just have to know how to get it set up.
Thank
right
goodness,
and interpret
yeah.
the results.
That's why we weren't making a million macros today and making it work.
Karen, could you give me a right? So, Ronnie, which team developed this tool? Like, who is kind of the brain behind this Excel spreadsheet?
I don't know about the Excel spreadsheet. The actual brains behind the statistical package, in other words,
Yeah.
is Miriam Goldberg in California. I don't know if she works for Lawrence Berkeley, but she came,
She works for Decker.
Deborah, okay. Anyway, she's a statistical,
Oh, I see.
she's the one that helped them define that you need p-values less than 0.1, 0.2, r-squared to less than 0.5, and then you have this plus or minus 3 standard deviations to test for validated. We called her, we had a situation,
But those ones change.
I don't remember which company we were trying to help out, but we asked me point blank, and we used to teach in the CP class, no more than 3 variables for monthly data. She said, there's no restriction. You want 5 variables, and you can justify them all, you should put them in there. But my experience has been if you try to put too many variables, like I said, the r-squared will get better, but the p-values will start moving.
Yeah,
Things will change.
Yeah, I mentioned that.
And There is nothing that says you have to test for collinearity. Read it would be further on where it says. And she said, and in my experience has been, if there are two variables trying to describe the same thing, you put them both in there, their p-values are, either one alone does great, you put them both in there, and all of a sudden, they both go out the door.
Oh, I never actually texted. Call dependent variables in a grid, that works.
So the tool kind of, in my opinion, it kind of manages that process for you.
Yeah.
The statistical analysis does.
Yeah. Interesting.
So.
Thank you.
Have a
You guys
great
go on.
afternoon.
So Randy, now, you still need to debrief what they're gonna do tonight? Did you give them an assignment tonight, or you're not, or they're done?
Well, I
That
told,
would be pro-
well, they have exercise 12 tonight.
Okay, so you have to debrief that in the morning?
We don't have to debrief it in the morning, we might actually wait for, we can find a more open spot in the schedule.
So you don't have to debrief?
I might just ask them what kind of results to take 5 minutes or.
Okay. and,
This crowd in particular, and if I had a class of 20, that'd be a whole different thing, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So Randy, did you go through the steps? I wasn't looking at the slides when you were telling us what to do. This is
I wouldn't
a
look
lot
at the
of
slides,
slides. Do they
Carol.
go by the slides?
No, I
Step
would-
1, 2, 3?
I would kill off those slides, to be honest. I would go the way Randy did it. We've done it both ways. My experience, yours may be different, but my experience is if they walk through it, it goes better. Those slides get confusing.
Right, well, what I'm asking is, did you go by the same,
Yes.
uh?
If you went and looked at the
Yes,
slides,
right, they would be the same. But see, for online, I'm gonna have to have something on the screen.
I think, if I was doing it online, I think what I would have on the screen is exactly what Randy had on his.
Right.
I wouldn't
and
have the
of
slides
course,
on the screen.
well,
But-
right, but the slides, Ed redid the presentation, he took all of that content. And so he went through the tool with this, when he got to like the data or the units conversion, he then put in about 6 slides about site to source.
Mhm.
And then he goes back to the screenshots of doing site to source, but it's so sterile. The problem I don't like with screenshots is he chose what to show and I can't show a different part of the screen and point out something else and talk about other things. So if I put the tool up there,
Right.
it's interactive to what they're seeing and we're doing the same thing. And so since all of his slides were just screenshots of setting the tool up,
So what you're saying
for the
is,
live setting, I chose to just do it with them and Carol, we used to start this part, we started at 3 o'clock today. We used to start this about 1:30. They may be on schedule for closer to 1:30 too. And at 5:30, we'd still be trying to get them through exercise 12. I mean, we went through 100 slides, say,
Right,
do this,
I
and then
can
do
remember
this,
all
and
those
then do
slides.
this. Okay, here's the model, go do it.
It doesn't want to be good.
And they don't remember anything you call them, and then they get in front of the tool, and it's like, well, read the book on how to speak Spanish, and then go to Mexico, tell me how to do it.
okay, so online, do you want them to have the ability to just go wherever they want to in the model while you narrate and say, go here? And if you can't find what you're looking, we could have like a hint button, where you click the hint button and say, well, here's.
The
what's
online
there.
learning that I've done relative to online tools, like working with the Office or something like that, is they'll show you a screenshot with like the mouse going.
Right.
So go click on the ENPI tool. And, I guess I would prefer to figure out where the breaks are. In other words, do that and then do this, and then the screen stops until they say, I want to go to the next step, which means that they have synchronized whatever you're asking them to do with that.
Yeah, here's what I would like them to do. I would like them to look at him or whoever on the screen saying, step one, do this. And I'd like them to, I'd like it to close up and they go to their Excel on their machine and they open it up and they do it. And then, but out it comes, okay, well, next do this. And it shows them what it should look like. And it squishes down and they do that. The issue I think we're gonna have is kind of like what happened with Pete, this little he actually had it, did it.
When you selected variables,
Yeah.
or?
Yeah. So he got, his did not look like yours. Now, for his, I could look at it and say, okay, it's a location there, it's not a problem. The numbers are still what they're supposed to be. But if they run into a problem, the issue is they're not going to have
Somebody there.
somebody there to
Right.
fix it. So what I'd also like them to have is an Excel file with tabs. Step one is forecast, step two is backcast, step three is change. So they can see, they can have a file with it run correctly. And it doesn't mean that they'll ever figure out how to get there without some personal help, because when Ed and I did it for water wastewater, and we had 4 PVs in the room, we couldn't get everybody on the same page. We also had 35 people.
It's harder with big class, it's somebody variable.
I mean,
Say, click on this.
they click on all kinds of stuff. They had different versions. They had all, I mean, there are some people who cannot install a version of what you do. So what are they supposed to do? They can't install it.
Well, you know, and I think our thinking for the online training, this tool won't be the tool. It will be an online tool. So the screenshots and all that will be different.
Oh, really? They're changing it?
You know, it's
This year,
never,
next year.
it's always a moving target, even when they say it's not.
I don't know. I just know that
I mean, I don't know how we proceed, this is all we have to proceed with now. I do have a version 5, you know, that we could use, which is at least be the same with whatever.
Okay, what's the difference to you between this and the online? You said it will be an online tool. What does that mean?
Well, the screenshots will be, what you show them will be completely different.
Why?
It won't be an Excel spreadsheet. It'll be, put this data in this web form, hit this button, here's what it will.
Oh, you don't read on the Excel?
it can't be what's online. Because Excel's not online. It could be a Google form, but that only works in the US.
Yeah, I mean, what they're developing is a tool that you can copy your data from Excel, put it on this web page. It will run the
So you don't
same.
have to download it to your machine, all you do is pop it up there.
Of course, I don't know that, well,
Well,
different story.
I think their backdoor is that they'll probably always have a tool that's downloaded, and maybe our trainer should just go to that. In that case, I'll back up and say that they probably would have a version you can run on the desktop.
Well, wouldn't it be similar? I mean, they're not gonna change them.
Well, it had to be
Basic
different,
steps.
yeah, but it would still be different than the online tool.
What would be?
Because one would be in Excel, one would be online.
I don't want to look the same.
No,
What's it gonna look like?
we don't know.
I mean, how else can you make a set of data look different?
Well, there'd be some
A set of
way,
data isn't column numbers, I mean.
Yeah, but that way in which the numbers are presented, how the models are
yeah,
presented.
but in it, right, in Excel, I got the wizard and this button, and there's an arrangement of that. In online, it'll be, put your data here, and then go to this button and click that. It won't be labeled the same, won't look the same, won't be in the same place, won't be the same button as Excel has. And then it'll do something else and ask you to do something else. I have no idea what micromolar is doing. the end's right, I mean, 3 M's not gonna use a whole lot of time to deal with these.
We can go and pull the trash right quick.
They're good questions.
Come on, we're
Come
done.
on,
We're
okay,
just
come
chatting.
on, come on, we got
We're wrapping up.
This is just.
So y'all all right? You guys trying to get the
Debriefing
trash up and
Okay.
everything?
Go for it.
The calendar.
Yeah, they'll be back tomorrow. Be back tomorrow.
Other issues, what happens
Is that my coat?
Oh,
Paul?
I'll get you in there.
Okay.
I'll go get you in there right quick.
I
Value
got
coat.
a long night ahead.
Yeah, value coat.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen with, questions?
What did you
Talk
say?
about parties, basically.
Well, what Bill and I talked about was having a monthly webinar. You're told that the topic of the webinar is going to be backcast. So everybody has backcasting. That's mine too. Um, having a monthly webinar where you say the topic is backcasting, so everybody who had trouble with backcasting, or Emory protocol, everyone who had trouble with it, saying come on Saturday morning at 9 o'clock, or whatever time you choose. And then everybody wants that, everyone who's there wants the same thing. Thank you.
Okay, so,
I'm sorry.
Service right there.
No, that's all, that's okay.
Okay. That's all right, Cole. They'll be back tomorrow.
Right.
Okay.
Put that
Yeah, you gotta put your chair
Now,
up.
you would know when to
Let's push it up and that's cool. Let's go.
be.
Okay.
well, see, that's just it. I don't think we are going to be because this will be an ongoing thing. At any point in time, they can start the CP course, the CP, and at any point in time, they can sign up for the test.
Like, if you have 50,000 people doing that across the country, I mean, I think the probability of having 20 available on Saturday, June 5th is.
Yeah, so I guess what we're saying is we will have a standard set of webinars where we answer questions.
Right.
And we show up at time A and they either show up or they don't.
Like office hours for professors.
Yeah, the other thing I think we could do, and I've never taken an online class. I've interacted with plenty of folks that have these proctored chats or discussions. So some of what we do interactively can be done a little less synchronous, so. Well, I think they need to be used judiciously. If you try to do too much with them, they could be.
You hate being in them or you hate
I
facilitating?
hate facilitating because it's very time consuming. I mean, it's a lot less time consuming to say, I will be here from hour 1 to hour 2 on these dates than it is to try and go in every single week and check those chats.
Everything
No.
okay today?
It's great.
I would do it like this, like, there's a discussion board this week about backlinks.
That's it.
People can post their questions, they can answer each other's questions. And you can do that in the sense leading up to the webinar. You weigh in as the instructor.
So for your time.
Yeah. Well, this is gonna be way more labor intensive for us to do it online.
Oh, yes, I told Bill
Then-
that,
then
and he
this-
said he understands, but, you know,
I don't
if he
think we
actually
understand.
puts it in to the contract and gives you the coverage to do it.
Well, I think the NFL tell you that if you don't, it isn't gonna happen. Because putting an hour on the calendar here or there is questions to be answered. And it takes her, I actually emailed it and said, a little bit doing some questions. How much time does it take you to answer these? Because they can only submit so many questions per week. So for her 1 hour webinar, she chooses, what she does is she chooses 3 that represent the ones most commonly asked
Right.
in that time frame. And she said if she tries to answer even as few as 10 of them, it just takes a huge amount of time to scroll through, find the key questions, find out what it is that they're doing, figure out what in the materials led to those questions, deconstruct what's going on, and reconstruct how to fix it, and get the materials up and ready. It takes her, for every hour she spends on the webinar, it can take her 8 hours of prep.
Randy, if you want to take an online course, Georgia Tech is with Coursera. You know what a MOOC is? Coursera is where Georgia Tech professors put courses up for free. And you can go and take it, you have access to all the materials. You can either take it for free or you can pay $50 and get a certificate. It's called, Coursera, and just Google Georgia Tech courses. Well, you can Google anybody's courses.
MIT
Take
has
something for fun, but if you want to see what Georgia Tech's doing,
I haven't looked at MIT's, but
Yeah, MIT has a nice online course option.
MIT, the problem with MIT
It's
is
just
you
the
don't
content.
always have access to the materials.
Yep.
All the ones I've seen at Georgia Tech, you actually have access to the materials, but you will not have access to the professor, but you can still participate with chapters.
It is interesting. I think it's a great opportunity. I think it's a lot of fun. I just think that this is a very dynamic program, and dynamic programs don't always make the best choice for online learning. They make a really good choice for face-to-face learning.
well, yeah, it
I mean, because we're gonna have, the program is gonna be, the new program is being launched in November of this year. 2016 launches in November, at the latest. And then in November of 2019, the next version launches. So it's not even,
50,000.
no, the entire SCP program is gonna have a new 2019 version. So there's,
Well, we have a course in March, so what are we going to teach in March?
I don't know. I guess we're gonna teach the new version.
We're gonna update this content to the new protocol, which won't, there's not that many changes actually to this.
Oh, okay.
If you were just gonna take this slide layout and change what requirements, so you're still gonna have a slide about this topic, but the content on that slide has to change to reflect what's in the new agreement. All the ones about baseline, reporting period, all that stuff is gonna change.
And all the levels and the use of the scorecard and all that changes. I mean, the exercises, a lot of the exercises don't have to change. But,
They
you
do
know,
or don't?
a lot of them don't.
Oh.
But then in 2016 you get this new program, then 2019 you get another new
Right.
program. So I think one of the things you'll have to be very clear about is what's the level of flexibility of those materials. And the other thing, Randy, I was noticing is there's links into the e-guide here, and that's all changed. And, that's like quicksand. I don't even know.
Well, I think we ought to uncouple that.
That's the only thing I can.
I don't think we should put links in here, we should just say e-guide and reference the section and
I
chapter.
don't think we can, because it's not,
They rearranged the title. I
Yeah.
mean, they rearranged the numbers, but I'm not sure they changed the titles.
well,
So we
it's,
could.
Well, they did, because they
say-
rolled it up into those questions. If nothing else, you
Oh,
could
right.
just at the high level say, see question, or however, yeah.
Or do a search, put this term in the search.
that thing's not stable. It's gonna change again. I don't know what it's even gonna,
That's the
Feather's
case.
friend, that's gonna
There are
come
too many
look
cooks
like.
stirring that pot.
yeah,
Well, Peter said he was in charge, so.
Peter,
Pete.
Yeah, to some degree, but, you know, his boss and his boss's boss are looking over their shoulders, but we're thinking, oh, they're the ones that are doing it. Because nobody will say, we're not gonna do it like that. And the big boss says, I wanted to do this thing. They start
You know
talking
what
about how they
else?
can make it do that.
We get it all nice and neat to where we want it, and the big boss looks at the final product and says, oh, no, I don't like this, let's do it this way.
I tell you, you know,
That's what I'm-
this whole online thing for CP, it wouldn't hurt us to go outside of our group. And I'm gonna suggest names, but not because they're necessarily the names of people we should talk to, but they're representative of, you know, so somebody like Raylene or Peter Bassett, or people that have been CP students, they've been through training and training, they've tried to do it with industry,
I think.
to give that outside perspective on
What works and what doesn't.
how,
What we do.
right, what advice would you give us in trying to convert this to something that people can do online and learn with, you know, in a self-paced fashion?
Well, I like that idea.
Well, I think Michael Stowe would be a
Yeah,
good
he
candidate.
would too,
I
yeah.
think Andrew would be a great candidate.
Andrew.